Welcome. This is Conversation with the Popes. My name is Vince.
And I am Michelle.
Today we're going to be talking about when it's time to let go.
When it's time to let go, that's
Yeah.
a hard one for me, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah. It's
haven't.
hard for everybody to let go of some things.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when we talked about this. I thought about you remember that summer when we were not this one. We traveled all the time,
Yeah.
but we had this particular summer with the family, the husband and wife with the kids.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to say anybody's name, but it was some good friends of ours that
Oh,
they
yeah.
they had friends and they love to travel. We love to
Oh,
travel.
yeah. Yeah. They're like on the roll again.
Right. And I think this one month, I think it was we went somewhere every weekend. That one month
Mhm.
we went to Ohio and they have a Geauga Lake amusement park, Kings Island
Oh, yeah.
amusement park,
All
Cedar
amusement
Point.
parks.
Yeah, so we went to all of these amusement parks in one month, just every weekend, just
Oh, yeah.
traveling.
Well, yeah, the kids had a blast, I'll tell you
Right.
that.
Well, it was just me and you, and then the two oldest that we have together. So it was
Yeah.
just the four of us. But always had some other kids.
Oh, yeah.
Had
Yeah.
Michael and
These
my nephew and
nephews and stuff. Yeah.
right, right. So it was a good summer, and
I
I
don't
think
know.
it was the same summer
Did they
that
have to
we.
tell you what is at the time?
Yeah, I think so. So your niece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But we that summer we drove to Florida
Oh, yeah.
and we were going to
Long
Disney.
ride.
Yeah, we were going to
24
Disney.
hours.
We were going to Disney, and I think Tara, she was like two because she was still in the stroller, and she flew down with my sister. So we
She
drove my sister's van with her
probably took
three
her
kids.
took her 2 hours.
Babe, we drove my sister's van with her three kids.
Yeah.
So we had her three, our oldest, and I think my nephew was with us too, and your oldest.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nate. I mean, no,
no,
Rashara.
yeah,
Rashara was with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we all were driving down and we took turns. I don't drive too much now, but we took turns driving and it's so
She
funny.
didn't drive very much.
Whatever. Anyway, I drove us into Florida. And
Oh, yeah.
I woke everybody up. I'm like, everybody, we're in Florida. I was so
Hmm.
excited. And
That song died down real fast.
right about an hour later, everybody was
It
like,
was
"Are we there
we
yet?"
had 6 more
Six
hours to
more
go.
hours to get to my sister house, and so we finally made it. And it was, I mean, it was a good time that summer. We
Oh,
were like,
I was like a zombie. I'm like, no sleep.
well, you got a chance to go to sleep once we got there, but we had a good run. I was
Yeah.
working at before that I was working at the phone company
Yeah.
and making good money there and making more money than him.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
But
I'm not mad about it.
yeah, we had good insurance and everything. But it's so funny. After 5 years, they were trying to get people to buy out. You remember that?
Oh,
They were
yeah.
trying to get people to buy out,
She
and
was young.
I was tired. I was like, after 5 years, I was so tired of working there. It
She's
was
not good working with companies.
I'm not good working doing the same thing every day. It
Yeah.
was repetitive. I was a telephone operator for you all that don't know. I was a telephone operator and it was boring. I could not do
That
it.
was an interesting job.
It was it's funny when I first started and I was looking at everybody how fast they were typing and giving out phone numbers. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do that. 6 months into it, I was like, okay, I'm done. This is like it was just over.
The job was close. It was walking distance.
It was walking distance, but anyway, when they was asking people to retire, I'm like, "Can I retire?" They said, "Well, you got 5 years, so that means you're vested." I took my little money and I was out,
Yeah.
and I used that money. I started a daycare, in-home daycare, and
Yeah, we
anybody that don't know me, when I do something, I do it legit. So
she took class. She
I
went to
took
school for it.
classes. I
So
went
yeah.
and got trained. I went and got CPR certified. I had the home
But we
inspections.
did talk about it.
Yeah,
So
we talked about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, he was. We were in agreement, so
yeah.
we were together on it.
Because I want her to be happy. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So we talked about it, and we made the necessary changes. This is when you got into your skills.
yeah. Doing carpenter work, bought me a do-it-yourself book. That's how I learned how to start. That's how it all started.
See, I didn't even know about the book. I thought you just like God just blessed you just to
No,
have
no,
these skills.
no. I had the vision. I just got to know how to put it together.
And he did a great job because when you walk downstairs where the daycare was, you had this wall with a door right in the middle of the
yeah.
wall. So he knocked that wall down. He
paneling.
knocked that door down. Well, you moved the door actually and put it where the furnace, when the water heater was. You moved that wall over there. You remember that? Because that was like open. So you put the door over there, and he separated the laundry room. So he made it real nice.
And we had a bathroom down
Yeah,
there.
you made it was just
Toilet was there.
yeah, it wasn't anything down there.
No,
You
I
made
did.
it.
I just added a sink. You know?
Okay, yeah, it was just a toilet, and it was you enclosed it because it was open.
Yeah,
It was just out in the open. So yeah, my man got skills, y'all. Anyway, that was his first job and home improvement job.
Yeah.
And then I started the daycare, and things were going really good. I think I was licensed to have maybe like seven children at a time, or 6 children, and then Tara, she was still with me. I think she was in kindergarten or preschool, so she was with me half the time. But it was good. We were at capacity. My brother was working with me. I did.
Yeah, the house was laid. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a very nice
we had a
house.
privacy fence.
A tall privacy fence.
Yeah.
So it was a very nice house, nice neighborhood, and like I said, was full at capacity, and I did before school care, after school care, so things were going well. But then the kids just started leaving like one by one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had not soon after that. We had got saved.
Yeah.
And we started going to church. And then just prior to that, the kids just started dropping off one by one after almost going on 2 years. It was the mom was pregnant. And then when she had the baby, she just decided to take her son out, and she just became a stay-at-home mom. And then one was going to kindergarten or full-time first grade or something like that. Then another one was moving. So it was like legit reasons that they were leaving, but it was like one by one, like, Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah. It was kind of sad for a minute.
Yeah.
Things started changing. I mean, it started off good, but now all of a sudden it's like, well, okay.
Right. And we were so used to that income because, like I said, the phone company was a good job, and Vincent was working. You were working at the time too.
City, yeah.
Yeah, so you were making money, and so things were going very well. And the daycare was doing well too, because I actually was in a lot of programs that like food reimbursement. So if I planned my meals and it was healthy meals, that they would, pay me, give me money back. And so it was things were going very well, but God did something.
Yeah.
God was doing some
things
things.
start happening.
Right.
So we're looking for some guidance, some directions, something, to see to see why these things are happening to us.
Right.
We feel like, it's like, okay, we're looking for a change now.
Right.
But we're looking for, I say, well, I think we started going to church, and I guess she wanted me she said she was going, and first I was.
Yeah, well, we talked about that in another podcast,
yeah.
And you all could go back and listen to it. I don't know which one it was, but I think it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
So you can go and hear about that.
Yeah, but anyway, we started going to church, and things started. I mean, I guess you can go a little further now.
Yeah, but you remember we were saying that we laughed. Well, we didn't laugh about it, but we were saying how when you're in the enemy's playground, and you decide to,
seemed like everything's flowing.
Right. When you decide to, he don't mess with you when you playing in his playground. But when you decide to go on to serve God,
side.
Right, to go on God's side, he wanted to come and take all his toys away.
Things start happening.
Right. So the things, not to say that he gave us the things that we had, but it's some things that we may not have gotten with right motives. We ain't steal or cheat or anything like that, but we were selfish, and we didn't always. We had pride issues, and we were young, and we were in our 20s, and we didn't know what we were doing. So we were saying,
living.
Right, we were just having fun.
We was enjoying it.
But it's so funny when we made that decision to get saved, how things just start. Leaving people and falling things,
off,
just falling off. And we didn't even, people just stopped being around us. We didn't do
It
anything,
was getting discouraged. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
so
Yeah.
things was, leaving. And like I said, I believe that some of those things was a distraction, so that the enemy was using them as a distraction, so that we would not want to choose God.
Yeah.
But when we did, then he's like, okay, I'm gonna take these things away, since they're not over here. But then, like I said, some things we acquired ourselves.
Yeah, 'cause-
We did, we did it ourselves, and we know that God blesses the just and the
Because
unjust.
during that time, things got confusing. We decided, man, did we make a right decision or what? Because it's like,
Well, I didn't think about that.
well, I did,
Yeah, I didn't
things sometimes I was like, I said, this is bad luck or what? I'm like, I got saved and things started happening. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, that was his thoughts. I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking like that, but
Because I bought I bought that Taurus, that silver Taurus, on my way to work. I'm listening to Christian music, and I'm driving. The freeway had some
Black
construction
Eyes.
cones,
Oh, okay.
construction cones blocking off one lane, and
I remember that.
yeah. So I had to, after as soon as I got on the freeway, I automatically had to merge over to the far left. I got ready to, as soon as I'm waiting for traffic to clear. As soon as I got over, I'm waiting, and wham! Somebody ran right in back of me. God,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I remember it was dented up, but now.
So I'm saying to myself, Lord, I'm praying, and I'm like, and this happened to me. What's going on?
Wow, it's funny that you say that, because
Yeah.
one day I was driving on my way to church, and I'm just having me a Holy Ghost time in the car, and I see it in my peripheral that this car is coming close to me, ran right into me, and it was like on ice. So I couldn't move. Their tires were bald. It was a car on the right side of me, so I had nowhere to go, and they just right into
I think the
me.
devil was mad.
I think so.
He was
I
trying to
think so.
discourage me, to like, these things that happen. It wouldn't happen if you wouldn't got saved. See,
wow.
So yeah, so that was going through my mind. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
everything was fine. I'm like,
Everything was fine.
till I walk through, till I accept salvation. I'm like, wait a minute.
But I do believe that, that is part of it. And then the other part is, like I said, we acquired some things within our own selfish ways. And it's like, I did that. We did that.
Yeah.
We built that. We created this.
That's right.
And God couldn't have, he's like, no, he couldn't have us serve his kingdom thinking we can do it in our own strength. And that was the mindset that we had, that we don't, okay, we got saved, but we don't need God. We could do this on our own. We got this,
But we really needed God.
Oh,
We
yeah.
needed God. He had some fixing up, and we needed some fixing up and some teaching and some.
Yeah.
We need some, learn how to be a husband and wife.
Wife.
So there was a lot of
There
things.
was a lot. Mother, father, a lot.
Children,
We just
dealing with
needed to
father.
learn how to live as Michelle.
Yeah,
And to live
how
as
to,
Vincent.
how to be good stewards and how to have patience, and we were just we just going through
Right.
life, boy.
But we thought we knew what we were doing. We thought we had it all together.
Yeah.
So we thought. And then we got saved,
Yeah.
and God showed us, oh no, y'all don't have this.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need me. And he showed us that we needed him. And in that time, it's funny also that we weren't saved, but our kids went to Christian school.
Yeah, they
We
went
sent
to a
them to a private
Christian
Christian school.
Yeah.
But we didn't even we went to church on Easter. We were Easter Sunday
Oh yeah,
Christians.
We was
so,
all dressed up and nice.
yeah, we just went on Easter to show off our
Figured that was
clothes.
the tradition way. Of,
right.
that's
Right. That's how we were raised.
Everybody has to go to church
for the
on
fashion
Easter.
show.
Yeah.
So
Go drive, buy something nice, and everybody matching outfits, and go to church, and come home and eat, and and that's that one day with God.
Yeah, but it things got tight. Like I said, when that income left from the daycare,
Yeah.
now we just had Vince's income, and I was just volunteering at the church, so I wasn't getting paid for it. And then now we got 2 more babies.
Yeah,
We got two
more
babies back to
babies.
back,
Was
like
falling-
19
falling
months
behind
apart.
on mortgage. And, we
Right.
had-
So,
'cause-
well, we hadn't even got the house. We hadn't got the house yet.
No, we did.
No, babe. We didn't move to. Listen, the 2 youngest ones was born 98. The last one, we got the house in 2000. So,
I ain't
anyway.
talking about the suburb house. I'm talking about the
Oh
house.
yeah, we already had the house. I'm not talking about that.
Oh,
anyway,
I wasn't talking about
he's
the
talking about our very first house with the daycare.
Yeah,
I'm talking about after we got saved, and then we had two babies.
Yeah,
and they were like 19 months
because
apart.
I think we had the house was we made a deal or something. It was in foreclosure. I don't know. What
No,
happened to the
babe.
house.
We sold the first house. We sold it. Remember?
Oh, yeah,
we got
right.
it for
We put
like
it up for sale.
39,000,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we ended up selling it for 3 times that
we were
amount.
about to lose it, so we
No, babe. You confused.
because we was behind.
No, we were not. We were not behind in the new house. Anyway, we'll talk about that
Yeah,
after.
okay.
But let's just stay on
Yeah,
track.
well, anyway, yeah, we're moving on.
Anyway, so we had the 2 kids, and then so now we have 4.
Yeah.
We have 2 in diapers, and
That's we had Elijah last.
yeah, but they were both in diapers because they were only 19 months apart.
Yeah.
So they were both in diapers, and
The twins.
with one, people thought they were twins, and then you just had your job, and I was working at the church, volunteering at the church, and I would take the 2 little ones with me. But I was so
I think I got hired at the post office, living in the old house.
yeah. So we still just had the one job.
Yeah.
And you were and then Vince has 2 children, 2 older children that he was paying child support for.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our house, and then we had 2 other households where his money was going to. So it was 3 households, and it was a struggle. This was something new that I was not ready for.
It was a challenge.
And it was definitely a challenge. So we eventually
stuck with
we were going with financial counseling with our pastor's wife, and she was a blessing. She really helped us with our finances when we needed assistance to make ends meet. She would give us a loan, and we would pay her back in increments. So she was a blessing, and she brought me to the realization that we could no longer afford for the 2 oldest ones to go to that private school.
Private school, yeah.
And I had heard horrible, terrifying stories about the Detroit public school system.
A lot, so
it was horrible back
down.
then.
Yeah,
it was really horrible, so bad that the state had to step in and run the Detroit public school system. So I heard stories, and I did not want my children to be have to go into that environment. And I was just distraught. And I remember sitting in that room crying, and it was so hard to let go. It was so hard. I was not ready. I was not ready to let go of that because
it was a good school.
It was a very good school, and they were learning Spanish, and they were. I mean, it was just a blessing that they were there, and so that was a time. That was my first experience of having to let go, and I was not ready to let go.
I think that's one of the schools. They was that private school was more like kept us involved with the kids.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
what
was,
they learning, what they what they having trouble with. We went to the parents teacher conference, and
we were very involved. I think I was even though you couldn't, your schedule wouldn't allow it. I was a Boy Scout leader.
Yeah, me and
another woman. We were
I had a little time, and I was able to go when she couldn't go. So
and you did on the weekends, but not during the week. But so it was really devastating, not only to us, but to the children as well. But at the time, because I didn't know what I know now. So I wasn't really thinking about how the children felt. Mm-hmm. I just knew what we wanted for them, and we were no longer able to give them that type of education.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think this is when charter schools had just started. And Adrian, the oldest,
he was better.
Well, Adrian's the oldest. He was actually transitioning to middle school. So we would have had to make a decision of where he was going to go, because where they were going only went up to 5th grade.
Right.
So we had to make a decision. And I did a little research, and I said, well, these charter schools, they're backed by, I forget what college, but it was a well-known college in Michigan that it was, that it supported the program. So I'm thinking, well, it's supported by a college. It should be a good curriculum. But it was brand new. So we enrolled them in this charter school. And later we found out, my son said, Mom, that was the worst experience one of his worst experience that he's ever had.
Yeah.
That he was introduced to so many things that we were trying to prevent that traumatic experience, but it turned into a traumatic experience
And
anyway.
we talked about that. Kids don't have a say so in anything.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last podcast. And
we just threw them in that
right,
school.
and we thinking we're parents, like we know what's best for them.
Like,
we know what they need.
I know how they feel, because I felt that when my mama threw me in the school. I'm like, I just threw me and just left me.
So we thought we were doing the right thing, and again, I was not ready to let go. But that God knew. It's funny that God knows. I mean, it's not funny that God knows, because we expect God to know. But when we're going through these transitions that it's so hard to let go of, God is yet working on our behalf.
That's right.
He knows the big picture. We can't see the future, but God has a plan.
Yeah.
And it's a plan to, he's not trying to harm us. No. He's not trying to take things away.
We have to just have to give it over to him.
Right. Yeah. He's trying to take us from trusting in our own, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Yeah. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him. He's trying to get us from trusting in ourselves.
Yeah. So we trying to.
We couldn't see that.
Yeah, I couldn't doing things the way we feel that was right, but but it wasn't.
Right, right, and not knowing the devastation that took place with my son in this new environment. The classes were the same class sizes, but because it was new, it was not a lot of structure. Yeah. So it was
kind of new.
Yeah. They were trying to figure things out, and it wasn't a time for my children to go into something from an organized place that he had been for 6 years, and now to go into this place of unstructured and new. And so it was devastating, and we let it go. But a year later, which we didn't know, God told me when I was sitting in a service, go look for your house. And I'm like, okay. So I got home and I told Vince, I said,
I wasn't receiving that.
No, I said, Vince, God told us to go look for a house. He was like, nah. Mm-mm. And like he said, we already had a house. We found this house. We had been renting, but we needed a bigger house because we had 4 kids now. Yeah. We didn't have any down payment. It was a 3-bedroom house. We got it for $38,900 for that house. Mm-hmm. And yeah. So
we was doing good. I got a new job. I was making twice as much.
Not now. We're talking about we're on the other side of that doing good part. So but so it was devastating. Yeah. But I thank God that when he said go look for a house, that I was obedient. And like I said, Vince, he wasn't ready.
I wasn't.
And he wasn't ready. And sometimes when we transition, we have to leave some things behind in order for God to move us to our next. But it's hard to let go of some things. And I was grieving, first that income that we used to have and the freedom to travel. So I was grieving that. I wasn't ready to let go of that.
No.
I wasn't ready to let go of the kids' education, that stability, mm-hmm. and that it was just such a good education that they were receiving. But when God told us to go look for our house, I was obedient. And for me, it was a struggle, like I said, to let go of those things, because I looked at it as things that we did. We did this. Yeah. We did that. And it took a lot of time and energy to create these things. And it's like when you put all your time and energy in something, and then it felt like it was stripped away. It wasn't like a gradual thing. It was just like stripped away. You can't do this anymore.
Right.
You can't have this anymore. And that's
because some people will call it bad luck. We having bad luck.
Yeah, like Vince said, like what's going on?
I mean, what is going on in my life? How these things are happening to me, and I'm quite sure everyone has few of us have been through those experiences in life.
Right.
Yeah, because we get to that point where, I'm not a bad person. I do good.
Right.
I'm working every day,
Nice to
or
everyone. You was nice. I wasn't so
I'm
nice.
doing things, I guess right and stuff like that. But it seemed like things don't want to see me happy or want me
Right.
to have enjoyment in life, but these things start attacking, and that's the adversary, the enemy. He come to kill and destroy, and
Kill, steal,
still
and
and destroy.
destroy.
So
So it's not always God.
he may not kill you at that moment or destroy things, but he will steal those things.
Your joy.
Come and devour those things that you enjoy doing.
Right.
Yeah,
Because he stole my joy. I was not happy. I was irritable and I was grouchy to everybody. And
yeah,
the kids, like, everybody's like, your mama mean. And I was miserable. And it was just horrible.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I struggled, we struggled to make ends meet. It was just a
Oh
horrible
yeah.
time. And I realized it seemed like every transition I had to give up something.
Hmm.
Every transition I had to let something go. And it just, I didn't see what God was doing at the time, but hindsight I could see it. But when you're in it,
Yeah.
when you have to let go, you're not thinking, well, God has something better for me then. You're
No.
thinking like, man, I was enjoying that.
Yeah.
Look what we worked hard for this.
That's
We
right.
did this, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
Holding on to the things that you cherish or the things that you love the most.
Right.
And now those things are stripped away from you. It's hard,
Yeah, because I'm looking at like I did that.
Yeah.
So when those things were taken away, it felt like it was a part of me being taken
because
away.
like what I'm doing wrong?
Right.
Start blaming each other like you bad luck to me.
Yeah, you were calling me bad luck. Like she don't know what she doing. She don't know. She ain't hearing from God.
Bad luck. You cause all this stuff it just started happening. I'm like, well, I came to my senses and listen to the word and listen to my pastor, because we talked a lot and he explained. I explained to what's going on, and he told me the enemy just don't. He don't
He
like.
ain't happy.
He don't like
He
that
ain't
we
happy.
saved,
Right.
and he's still trying to steal your joy.
Right. And he was being successful at it.
Yeah.
And I like I said, my identity was in the things that I could accomplish.
Yeah.
It was in the things that we built together. So the things that we built together, when they were stripped away, I felt like I was a failure.
Yeah.
I felt like I had failed the children when we were no longer able to give them the education that I wanted to give them.
because I fell for them. Like, man,
Yeah.
I fell for their safety. I fell for the environment that they was in, because it wasn't no security, it's like it's just go to class and this and that, but they're not protecting the children.
Right, and my nephew was saying you got to bring your own toilet paper to school, and
Yeah,
he
whoever
and
heard
he
of such a
said
thing?
the class now in the private school, I think it was like a maximum of 20 25 in the classroom. My nephew was telling me stories. He was like, Auntie, it's like 40 people in my class. We don't have enough chairs. I'm like, well, where people sit? He said they stand up or they sit in the windowsill with a clipboard.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. I was devastated.
That was a shame,
Yeah. So when we couldn't give them what we had been accustomed to, I felt like a failure, and my identity was in those things. But like I said, I never asked the kids, well, do you want this or where you want to go? Because
No, never.
we know what's best,
So we made the decisions for them.
But I thought about it, even preparing for this conversation, I didn't even ask you. When God said, go look for your house, I went and looked he wasn't ready.
No.
But I'm going to be obedient to God. And I went and looked for the house, and then he got ready. He came and said, well, I'm ready. And then even in that, we end up selling the house that we had for 39. We even tried to refinance. You remember all those? I think we tried to refinance like 3 times to pay off some bills and just to get ahead. And the most that they would appraise the house for or be willing to give us for a refinance was $55,000.
Yeah, 50,000.
I'm like 50. We owe 40 on it, so that's only
we sold the house for 112. Didn't we?
Yeah, but we couldn't. That's again what I'm trying to make the point, that when we tried to do something, we
Oh,
kept
okay.
trying to refinance, but
Yeah.
God had a plan.
That's right.
He wanted us to go
he
look
didn't-
for our house
he
when
didn't-
it was ready.
Yeah, he didn't want us to
He didn't want us to
wanted to go down
refinance
that
it.
road
No.
where we was having problems in the beginning.
So, yeah.
say, just let me do this.
He kept putting up roadblocks.
Take your hands off of
yes.
it.
He kept putting up roadblocks. But when it was time to sell, yes, honey, we asked for 114. We only wanted 112, but we asked for 114,
14.
and they offered 112. So we got what we
because
wanted.
the house sold in what,
We put
6
it,
days?
No, we talked to the realtor on that Thursday, and we were going to have an open house on Sunday.
Yeah.
And she sent out the flyers or whatnot, and we got an offer before we even had the open house.
Yeah,
But we had the open house anyway.
I was painting the window sills on the outside, putting fresh coat of
But
paint.
it was a very nice house.
Yeah.
Very nice house. But
So I guess it was the realtor. He came and he said, man, if I look around, he called.
he
his
called his clients.
clients. Y'all got to come and see this house.
Right.
This is a perfect house. They said the house was so clean. It was immaculate. They said all the houses they've been seeing, it was dirty.
Yeah.
Walls was all different colors, and they said everything was neutral. Everything was in order. They fell in love with the bathroom and the kitchen.
Yeah, so they loved the house, and
Yeah.
we sold it, and God moved us to the suburbs. And here I'm whining and crying about an education, and here now they get a better education.
Oh, yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
And the bus picked them up, so I didn't have to commute, drive them to school, putting the two babies in the car like I used to, going in the snow and all this. Didn't have to do any of that. They just went 2 or 3 houses down from our house
That's
and
it.
caught the bus.
Yeah.
And I was, I was not ready, but God wanted to take us into our next.
Yeah.
But then he wasn't finished.
No, he
like,
wasn't.
oh my God, Lord, we're like, where's the next?
Yeah.
So again, everything's good. And then we have that recession.
Deception.
That
Yeah.
recession in 2008. I mean, we thought we were on track again, and we had everything like pretty much situated. I
Yeah.
think we were doing very well at the time.
I think the point of the whole situation is because when trouble come and when things all become like a loss, or we about to, things about to fall apart, we just have to put it in trust in the Lord. So
Yeah, even before it fall apart, we just got to trust God in all things.
yeah.
And then, like I said, that recession came and we got behind in the mortgage. I think we were 3 months
I
behind.
think it affected a lot of people.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
why it was called a recession, because it was that predatory lending going on where they weren't so concerned about if you could afford the house.
That's right.
They were just giving you a house. Because I think about it now, we went to, I'm not going to name the bank, but the banker that we went to, they said, don't worry about how much the house costs. We'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking, you have to be careful, because we're thinking that's a blessing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. God, he worked it out for our good, but the enemy meant it for our harm.
That's
because
right.
we were naive.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, it was a challenge. I mean, it was a
Right.
struggle to maintain, the mortgage. And
Yeah, because I wasn't working at the
They got to
time.
start working a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
couple
He
jobs.
was working 2 full-time jobs at the time.
Yeah.
He was working 2
I
full-time
had to go get
jobs.
a second job. I'm like, well, I mean, I was young and vibrant, and I was still serving at the church and working both jobs.
Right. I don't know. The grace of God was on this man.
I guess
because I don't know how he did it.
my joy was just to see the pleasant and the peace in the household.
And I was working at the time, but then it got to the point things were happening and I had to leave.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have the extra income. And so we got 3 months behind. And the mortgage company was not willing to work with us until we paid up to 3 months. I'm like, that's what we need help with.
Right.
So we stayed in the house, and it was coming close to, I said, I'm not leaving this house. They're going to have to put me out this house. And they did. They sent us a letter, eviction notice, and they said they paid us to leave the house.
Yeah.
They gave us
They
almost,
said,
what,
make sure everything is out
$2,000?
and clean, and we give you what, $2,500.
Yeah, they gave us somewhere $2,000, $2,500 to relocate. So they gave us relocation assistance, and we went and got another house. But again, because I knew I knew that house came from God. I knew when
Yeah.
God said,
That
go
was a
look
nice
for your
house.
house. That was a beautiful home. Again, God has been blessing us, but those transitions was killing me. It
To
was
let
such
go.
a struggle for me to let
Yeah,
go
we didn't want
because,
to let go of that house, boy.
right. But I realized you always see in hindsight. It's like I said, you cannot see what God is doing when you're in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But hindsight, I could see God because God, if we didn't lose that house, we would not be here
Yeah.
on this podcast right now. We would not be sharing this with
And
you
I guess,
right now.
and through it all, through those situations of life, it get to a point we are human, and we're gonna start blaming one another. If you marry, or you're gonna blame something, or you're
Yeah,
gonna
you
blame,
want to blame
yeah,
somebody.
because you're angry about the whole situation, and you of course you start saying things, but God, God start working on your behalf, because we're not perfect,
Right.
and we work hard for the little things, the things that we get. So, and then they all of a sudden they get stripped away from us.
Right.
Or you can't tell me you're not going to be upset about it.
Right. But we have to also look at it again in hindsight. You can't see it when you're going through, but God is he's orchestrating it.
Yeah.
He already had this plan. He already figured out. And in that transition of losing our house, God, he allowed things to happen to protect us. I think Obama was in office and they passed this bill that if your house was foreclosed, that is canceled debt. You didn't have to, show it on your taxes. You didn't have to, it didn't show up on your credit report. So he kind of protected us even in that.
Yeah.
And we had favor in the places that we moved to.
That's true.
The last place that we lived in before we moved to Tennessee was the landlord didn't want us to leave.
No.
When things got tight, Vince was like, well, we got to move. I said, honey, let's pray about it. And we're going to pray when you call him, because Vince was getting ready to call and tell him that, giving notice. And I said, okay, when you give notice, if he says, what can he do? What did I say? I said, if he takes some money off our rent, then we know that that's God and we're going to stay. So Vince picked up the phone and he called him and said, yeah, we're just, we're going to have to leave. And he said, well, if I take $100 off, will that help? And I'm like, well, we prayed and that's what we said. So,
Yeah.
But by the time we left, he was like, where y'all moving in Tennessee? I got houses there. I don't want to lose you all. You are very good tenants. And he did not want for us to leave. And it's so, God is so good that we were telling the landlord the days that we were going to pay our rent. So it was like 6 months on our pay dates. I would say, we're going to pay you on XYZ date. And then after those 6 months, he'll say, give me the next 6 months that you're going to pay, the rent.
And that's right.
So we had favor even in that, and then after that, after those two houses, I said, if they could just come and get your house just like that, I never want a house again.
Right.
I said, I never want to buy a house ever again.
It's a mortgage, but it's like you renting, but it has benefits to it.
What do you mean? The renting or
different from renting and buying a house.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Buying a house, you got the benefits, but renting a house, you just money you just giving.
Yeah, you giving to somebody
just giving
else.
Away.
Yeah, to pay their mortgage.
Yeah, so
so they could be the owners.
Just sleep in their place, but
yeah, but because I went through that devastation, I didn't want to go through it again.
Yeah.
If somebody could just come and take your house, at any moment, it's never yours.
That's right.
It's not mine. Even if
3 days behind, they
3 months.
3 months behind.
Yeah, and they take your house.
They giving you eviction notice.
Right. And then I'm thinking, and you're in a recession.
Yeah.
To not even give you concession for that, and then
after all you done put in, at least they work with you. But
exactly. So even in that, just I lost my train of thought, but we want to make sure that what we do is that we're not trusting in ourselves and our abilities, but we're trusting in God.
That's the key.
And like I said, I didn't want to buy a house again, but it's not about what I want. It's all about God. And at that time, God was doing something. He was telling me, don't be attached to people, places, and things.
Yeah.
And that transition, each transition was getting me closer and closer to God, that goal of not trusting people, places. I mean, putting my, you know,
Yeah.
holding on to people,
Because
places, and
things doesn't last long.
Yeah, and the word tells us that we are to wear this world as a loose garment.
Yeah.
Because when God say go, you have to be able to go.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2015, our youngest, he was getting ready to graduate from high school, and I said, "Honey, I'm ready to move. It's time. I think it's time to go." And again, Vince, he have to absorb
Yeah.
and process
Takes me a
things.
little time.
So he wasn't ready, but when he was ready, we decided and said, okay, we know it's going to be south. I knew it was going to be Tennessee, but he needed confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, put in your transfer, and whoever called out of these 3 places, that's where we're going to go. And Tennessee was first. We came down to Tennessee, and we rented an apartment for 2 years, and it just got too much for me because I'm used to my space. And then God blessed us with this house. So yes, we have a house, but we left our children back home. We didn't leave them. They did not want to come.
Yeah, they decided to stay.
Yes, they decided to stay. Their friends in school and everything. They had a life up there.
Yeah.
We're in Michigan, and we're just in a new next.
Yeah.
You know, empty nesters. We're learning each other again, and we're, like I said, we would not be on this podcast. We would not be doing this because we would be distracted with the cares of life.
They grown and we getting older and wiser. but yeah, it's a blessing because we allow them to, because we gave them a choice. We could have told them, y'all got to come down here with us, but no,
right?
They want to explore their own life and know their own identity,
right?
And live as adults.
And who are we? I mean, they're adults.
I mean, we here, we love them, everything. We
miss them.
We help them in times of needs, but but they still call and we keep up with each other.
Yes, we have a very close relationship with our children, even though we're not in the same state. We're like 500 plus miles away, and they're with the technology now. We could see them if we choose to. They could see us, and I could see our grandbaby, and God, He just is amazing. Mm-hmm. When we think that He's taking this and taking that, He has a plan.
Yeah,
and we just have to trust the plan.
Yeah, because like you said, don't grow attached to things,
right?
Because sometimes you have to let things go.
Yes, and you can't get to the next if you're holding on to the past.
Yeah, not just things,
people,
friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes maybe family. Because sometimes you have to let go, or for God to move you forward.
Yeah, because everybody can't go where you're going.
That's right.
And everybody don't receive you where you are.
Yeah, because you don't need an anchor to hold you down, because some of them things will hold you back and keep you from being blessed for what God has for you.
Right. Yeah. That's good, babe.
Yeah. Yeah. So so we have to put our trust in the Lord.
Yes.
And learn, it's a struggle, mm-hmm. and it's a challenge.
And it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not ready. I can't.
Yeah. But I want to challenge you to let go.
Yeah.
When it's time to let go.
Because God got some great things.
Here's His voice. And when things ain't working out in your presence or what you're dealing with, situation. And you need to make a change or a transition in life. I mean, you have to let go.
Yes, yes.
And pray about it.
Trust God.
Yeah, and trust God. Because we're a witness. We can tell you.
Yes, God broke that. He broke that shaky foundation. He crumbled it into pieces, and He built us on a firm foundation, a sure foundation. Yeah. And I'm grateful.
Yeah,
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So we thank you all for tuning in for this segment of Conversations with the Popes.
Yes.
And we will see you all next time.